All right, so let's look at another example. I'm going to ask you to actually find for this my focus. I need the focus, the vertex, and the directrix. I'm going to ask you to give me a rough sketch. So I'm going to ask you to do a rough sketch. But my equation here is x equals 1/4 y squared plus 3/2 y plus 13/4. Well, this, you can't even put in a graphing calculator because you have to have everything in terms of y. And trying to solve this for y is not the simplest thing to do. Now, I know this is going to open left or right because my y is my squared term. So this is either opening to the right or opening to the left, but right now I have no idea. All I know is this graph is either going to open to the left or open to the right. That's it. Actually, I wouldn't think that I did that backwards, right and left. It doesn't matter. I'm a math teacher. I don't know my right from left. It's good. All right, so the first thing I know is I'm going to have a general form. When it's opening to the left, I need to have y minus k is always with y, squared, equals 4p x minus h. I need to write it like this, because if I can write it like this, I then know hk is my vertex. I know my distance between my vertex and the focus, and I know the distance between my vertex and my directrix. This is why it's analytical geometry. So we can actually go in and actually, once we have one thing, figure everything else out. We don't have to memorize formulas. But what we have to do is some algebra. At this point, we're going to have to do a skill called Complete the Square. I have put a folder into your, this week that says Review Videos. Completing the Square is something you did in Algebra 1, Geometry, and Algebra 2. If you don't remember how to do it, please go back and watch those review videos. If you know how to complete the square, perfect, just keep going forward. If you don't, go back and review it. All right, so the first thing I want to do is I'm going to get rid of all these fractions because I don't see a single fraction in this. I can do that by doing a thing we call scaling the equation. And by doing this, I'm going to look at my denominators. I have a 4, I have a 2, and I have a 4. I'm going to ask myself, is there a number I can multiply by to get rid of all of those fractions? And my answer is yes. I can multiply everything by 4, and I get rid of all the fractions. Now, when we scale the equation, we have to multiply the entire equation by 4. So I'm going to do 4 times x. This gives me 4x equals 4 times 1/4 is 1, leaves me y squared. 4 times 3/2 is really 3 times 2, which is 6. So this gives me plus 6y. And 4 times 13/4 gives me 13. All right, I got rid of my fractions. I don't like dealing with fractions. I know you guys don't like dealing with fractions. More often than not, that's where a lot of the mistakes are. So this way, we don't have any fractions. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this 13 over to the 4 because I have to do a complete the square. So I need to get all the y's to one side. Anything that doesn't have a y, I want to put on the other. So I'm going to do 4x minus 13 equals y squared plus 6y. All right. Now from here, I'm going to complete the square. If you remember how to complete the square, we're going to take my b term. I'm going to divide it by 2. That's b squared. So that's b divided by 2. So that's 6 divided by 2. 6 divided by 2. That gives me 3. I'm then going to square it, and that gives me 9. That is the completing the square. Cut your b in half, and then square it. And I'm going to add 9 to both sides. So what we do to one side, we must do to the other. So I'm going to do 4x minus 13 plus 9 equals y squared plus 6y plus 9. Here, I added 9 to both sides because I don't want to change the equation. I have to keep it balanced. I'm really just adding 0 to it. Now I'm going to clean this up. This is now a perfect square trinomial. This is why we complete the squares, to create a perfect square trinomial. This is going to factor to x to y plus my middle term b. Here, I just cleaned the math up. I've got 4x, what is that, minus 4 equals, and this factors to y plus 3 squared. Here, I factor out my GCF because I'm looking right here, and I need to just have a y completely by the x completely by itself. I need to have a number on the outside, so I factor my 4 out. I have 4 times x minus 1 equals y plus 3 squared. All right. I am now in this form. It's written, it's spun around on the equal sign, but that doesn't matter. So I can label. I know 4 is 4p. I know this negative 1. This is my h. And this really is y minus a negative 3. That is my k, because it's supposed to be a minus. So I now know h, I know k. To find 4p, just take this number, set it equal. 4 equals 4p, divide by 4, p equals 1. So I have an h, I have a k, and I have a p. My h is 1, my k is -3, and my p is 1. So I know my focus, which is always h comma k, is 1 comma -3. Now let's draw this. So I know it's going to be opening to the right because my p is positive. So I'm drawing here. It's opening to the right. Here is my vertex. My vertex is 1 comma -3. I know my focus is over here. It's exactly 1 unit to the right. So I'm going to go from 1, I'm going to add, because I'm moving on the x values, I'm going to add. So this becomes 2, -3. So my focus is 2, -3. My directrix is exactly 1 unit to the left. So I'm going to subtract. So I'm going to do, let's see, this is a vertical line. So this is going to be x equals, well, this is going to be 1 minus 1, which is 0. My directrix is x equals 0. And voila. I now have everything I need. I have a rough sketch. If you notice, I didn't even put an XY plane in there. I don't really even care about the XY plane because once you have this point, I don't need to see it. Because then from there, it's still the same idea. You're going to move over to the right. If you need it, go ahead and draw it. I don't care. Now, you need to remember, when you give me a focus or a vertex, you need to give me a point. If you don't give me a point, you're not going to get credit for it because they are points. For the directrix, if you do not give me an equation of a line, you're not going to get credit for it because it's not just a number, it's an equation of a line. It's going to be an x equals or a y equals. Hi, I'm Mr. Buzzer, and these videos are supplemental instruction for my students. If you found the video enjoyable, make sure you click the like button and click subscribe, as well as the bell for notifications to receive future videos on high school mathematics.